Senator, when it comes to those automated vehicles, then what is the main concern, and legislatively, how do you handle that?
Well, really, I think if you look at what's happening in the industry today, most people's concern is going to be, how can we do this in a safe way? There are 5 levels of autonomous vehicle, L1 through L5, with different levels of self-driving features. I've ridden in some of these vehicles. It's pretty remarkable what's already being done out there. I was out on 395 here in Washington, D.C. in a vehicle that would slow down and speed up and change lanes on its own. It has a series of sensors on these vehicles, and so what we're trying to determine, of course, is how best to promote this technology and all that comes with it, particularly safety. 37,000 people die on America's highways every year. 94% of those are a result of some sort of human error. And so if we can get away from driving under the influence and distracted driving, we can save a lot of lives. So safety is kind of motivating this more than anything else, but there are lots of other benefits from self-driving cars that we hope to explore. And the legislation is designed to create a public policy framework that enables the technology to move forward, but again, in a way that is where safety is the #1 priority.
202-748-8000 for Democrats, Republicans 202-748-8001, and Independents 202-748-8002. If you work in the auto industry, a special line for you this morning, 202-748-8003. Senator, when you talk about those matters of safety, talk about liability. What happens if there's an accident? Who's eventually responsible?
Well, those are the questions that we have to try and answer. And, you have an entirely different, if you don't have a driver, who is liable in a case like that? And, those are the types of questions that we as policymakers have to ask as this technology continues to advance and move forward. And what our bill attempts to do is to try and at least clarify the roles of the federal government, the state government. Historically, the federal government has been in charge, basically, of design, construction, operation of vehicles. State governments govern the behavior of those vehicles, registration, standards, all those sorts of things. And so we're trying to define as much as we can and clarify what those roles are. But liability is a big issue. And we had lots of discussions with attorneys about this as we were developing this. This was probably the most sensitive and delicate issue that we had to deal with. But I think that those questions in the future as we move forward will continue to come more clearly into focus. But what we have to do is create the conditions and the policy framework that allows this technology to move forward, but in a way that promotes and makes safety the #1 priority. And so in our bill, we require safety evaluation reports that have to be filed by all the manufacturers of these vehicles. And those reports then, if they're in violation of any of these things, they will pay penalties for that. And they cover a whole range of issues, including cybersecurity, which is another issue that people are concerned about in this technology.